Time to go wolf hunting.
How's it look? Getting it?
Yeah,
all right.
Good.
Right, thanks.
Sure was nice of you and your father to come over tonight, Miss Webb.
It was nice of you asking us.
Well, we've been intending to. Ma has, I mean, to come visiting. You being new folks here.
We've been wishing you would.
Looks like the Kents are merrymaking. Let's see if we can't help them celebrate. Stop the music. That's what we've been told not to do. Now put that back and get your mother and the other women and the children down into the storm cellar.
Dad, what is it?
Mr. Webb, would you go to the barn and let the horses out? They may burn it. Certainly.
Ma!
What is it?
It's a raid.
But why?
They hate us. We're Mormons.
Mormons?
Yes, go on. Hurry now.
Hey, here's one!
Come on out, Mormon. Get out here and find out what the state of Illinois thinks of you. Come on.
Cut me some firewood.
Has anything like this ever happened before?
5 years ago in Missouri.
Just because you people are Mormons?
Just because we're Mormons.
I got one of their Mormon Bibles. Let's make him spit on it.
Yeah, make him spit on it.
Spit on it.
Shove it down his throat.
Go on, spit on it.
Blessed be he when men shall revile you and say all manner of evil things about you for my sake.
Don't fuss at us.
Come on out of there. Ma, they set the house on fire. Now hide in the fields until they're gone. Come on, hurry. Quick.
This is what you can expect if you don't clear out of here. Why are you doing this? We only want to live in peace with everyone.
father, Caleb Kent.
How?
Beaten to death.
Jasper Palmer.
Beaten.
Well, what are we going to do about it? Stand back and pray while the driver's out of another state?
The Lord works in strange ways.
Sure, but that didn't prevent him turning Samson loose on those Philistines with the jawbone of an ass, did it? What those fellows need is a little lead in their bellies, and if you say the word,
Tear them limb from limb, I know.
Well, that's what they're reaching for.
Our people have had enough trouble without that.
They can't stand much more, Joseph. They can't stand to pull up stakes and move again.
Let's settle this the wise way, then. Give them the political power they want. Vote the way they say to vote.
Yeah, let them use that power to destroy us.
The authorities will protect us if we do as they say.
I wouldn't trust them any further than I can chuck a mule.
We can't take any more chances. Start all over again. We've got the biggest city in Illinois to protect. Promise them anything they want. Only let's have peace.
What do you say, Hiram?
A man has a right to fight for his own life.
And you, Heba?
Seems like we'll have to. Otherwise, they'll drive us clear out of the United States.
All my life, I've asked only one thing of my neighbors: to be left alone in peace. We've stuck to that in every state we've been in. But I guess it won't work.
What?
You may be right, Angus. But perhaps it's time for us to show a different kind of courage and do something besides be killed for what we believe. Tell the people I said to arm themselves.
That's treason.
That if there's any more raiding, we're going to fight back. Tell them I'm going to lead them myself. If they haven't got guns, get guns for them. Tell them we're through turning the other cheek.
Hallelujah!
What's the difference between a white man and a Mormon?
Claims if I know.
About 50 wives.
There he is. The man that says he talks to God. A man so eaten with pride and ambition that even the word treason holds no horror for him. Prophet and saint who walks up to God anytime he feels like it, whispers in his ear, and gets talked back to. Joseph Smith. Now, gentlemen, you've heard the evidence. Of all that, I need say no more. However, I would hold myself no better than a skunk if I did not bring up a matter which is the very heart and core of this case. To wit, the teachings of Joseph Smith.
Order! Go ahead, Pete.
Joseph Smith, a half-educated boy just like you or me. Brought up in a 2x4 town called Palmyra in New York State. Has the unmitigated nerve to stand up and say God told him to rewrite the Holy Bible because it's full of errors. Errors, mind you. And to go out and preach that all churches are an abomination in the sight of the Lord except this one. That God told him personally to go out and get an army to run. Give him a trumpet and I bet he'd say he's Gabriel himself. Wait a minute. Go on and sit down. Now remember, this is a court of law and justice. The self-respecting people of free states, New York, Ohio, and Missouri, God bless them, have already told Joseph Smith to pack up and get. What has that stopped him? Oh, no! He's come all the way here to Illinois to save us. And what does he do? He buys himself a swamp hole for almost nothing and builds himself a town called Nauvoo. And sends his missionaries all over the world to tell people God set our land aside as their inheritance. Before long, they'll own every stick and stone in Illinois, fill every public office, run every church and school, unless we get rid of them. Your Honor, the prosecution rests.
Order the court! Has the defense anything further to offer?
Your Honor, if there's no objection, I'd like to say something.
We ought to let him say what he's got to say.
Let yourself go, Brigham.
Your Honor, my name is Brigham Young. I'm not a lawyer, but...
Never mind that. Go ahead, talk.
All right, go ahead.
Well, gentlemen, it looks to me like there's been a little mistake made here. The lawyer for the other side has been so busy trying to pin every crime on the calendar on Joseph Smith, he clean forgot to mention that us folks was the victims of all those outrages he was talking about, not the ones that were doing them. Sure. We finally got around trying to protect ourselves. You push even a coyote up in the corner and he'll snap back at you. That's the first time I ever heard it called treason, though. In other words, the whole point is, whether Joseph Smith or any other American citizen has a right to worship God as he chooses. So that's why I figured I'd like to tell you a little bit about Joseph Smith. Now, me, I'm just an ordinary, everyday fellow. I used to farm a little, do a little carpentry work, painting, anything to make a living. But all that time, I was trying to find the right church for me and for my family, and I was willing to give them all a try. But somehow none of them hit me just right. I'm not saying, gentlemen, there was anything wrong with them for other people. I'm just saying they didn't suit me. One day I picked up the Book of Mormon, and I said to my friend, Heber Kimball, Heber, let's go out to Ohio and see this prophet. Let's see what he's got to say for himself. I remember it was about noon. We came up to Joseph Smith's house. His wife, Emma, came to the door. Excuse me, ma'am. Is this where Joseph Smith lives?
Yes?
Well, we'd like to talk to him, please.
Well, you'll find him out yonder, the other side of the lake, chopping wood.
Thank you, ma'am. That sounds kind of funny for a prophet to be out swinging an axe.
Don't seem just right.
Prophet ought to act like a prophet. He can't expect to build a church if he acts like a farmhand.
Good morning.
How do you do, sir? I'm Brigham Young. This is my friend, Heber Kimball.
I'm glad to meet you.
And we've come a long ways to see you. We want to ask you some questions about your church.
Gladly. I'd like to tell you about it. Would you sit down?
What's this about you folks calling yourselves saints?
Well, we believe that any man, dead or alive, who keeps the Ten Commandments is a saint.
You don't pretend to be the Lord himself, do you?
No. I'm just a mortal man, same as you or your friend here.
Well, this plan of yours you call a united order, what's that?
It's not my plan. It's the Lord's.
Well, whoever it is, what is it?
Well, I suppose you'd call it the law of nature. You see, it's his idea that the land of Zion will be sort of like a beehive. Like that anthill over there. With everybody doing his share of the work and getting his part of the profits. A place where everybody will have everything he can eat and use. There'll be great storehouses to keep food and things in for the sick and the poor, the old folks. You see, Under a brotherhood plan like that, it'll be impossible for any one man to pile up a lot of goods or have power over his neighbors. That'll mean there'll be no social distinctions, no caste, no special privileges. Any more, I take it, than there is in that anthill over there. We had it once, but somehow we've all but lost it. We've got to get back to it again.
Well, that sounds all right. But then there'll always be lazy people, ambitious people. There'll be some honest ones and some dishonest ones.
What I'm telling you, Brother Brigham, is a revelation from the Lord. It's up to us to work it out. This isn't an easy religion.
Well, I'm not looking for an easy religion. I'm looking for one I can bring my family up decent in.
Joseph, dinner's ready.
Won't you stay and have dinner with us?
Well, thank you. We'd be glad to.
All right. Come on.
Now, gentlemen, I'm not asking you to believe a single thing Joseph Smith said. But I do ask you, let him believe it. Let me believe it if we want to. Your forefathers and mine came to this country in the first place for one great reason: to escape persecution for their beliefs and to build a free country where everybody might worship God as he pleased. That's what brought the Puritans to Massachusetts, the Quakers to Pennsylvania, the Huguenots to South Carolina, the Catholics to Maryland. And when they found what they were after, they fought a great war to hold on to it. And they drew up one of the noblest documents ever written, the Constitution of the United States, to govern free men. And the very first words they put on that piece of paper: guarantees to every man the right to worship God as he pleases, and prohibits Congress or anybody else from ever doing anything to take away that right. You can't convict Joseph Smith just because he happens to believe something you don't believe. You can't go against everything your ancestors fought and died for. And if you do, your names, not Joseph Smith's, will go down in history as traitors. They'll stink in the records and be a shameful thing on the tongues of your children. Thank you, sir.
The jury can go out now and decide.
Give it to him! What are you waiting for?
We don't have to go out, Your Honor. He's guilty.
Sheriff, take charge of the prisoner. Have him here tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock for a sentence. Yes, sir.
Joseph, if you'll say the word,
I'll do nothing of the sort.
I'm going with you, Joseph.
So am I.
Come on.
Joseph, I'm going too.
This is the end. I want you to stay and take care of my people. Don't look so solemn, Brigham. Only the Lord God of Israel can whip us. And I don't think he's in cahoots with the sheriff.
There he is! Here comes Holy Joe!
coming. Ask the Lord to save you, Joseph.
The Lord God of Israel has spoken. Verily I say unto you that one will be raised up to take my place, endowed with courage, farsightedness, common sense. He will lead my people, even as Moses led the children of Israel across the wilderness.
Lord, my God.
Hello. We thought we'd just come over and see how you're getting along.
Won't you come in? I'm going away.
Where to?
Well, you see, I have an aunt back in New York. Not really my aunt, but just by marriage. And, well, I wrote her and asked her.
We came hoping you'd come over and stay with us.
Thanks just the same, but I'm afraid I couldn't do that.
We'd sure like to have you if you could.
We thought seeing you lost your father and something to do with us.
Oh, but I'm not a Mormon.
That wouldn't make any difference.
But I just don't understand it. It's been so terrible, this hating and killing.
It won't always be like that, Zina.
I couldn't stand it. I just got to get away.
Well, now. You come over and stay with us.
I don't know really what to do.
Well, now, you can stay for a little while, and then a little later, after you're feeling better, then you can decide.
I'm afraid you folks are making a sad mistake. Fixing to run off and leave a fine farm like this when there's no sense to it.
Oh, Brigham Young thinks there's sense to it. Get ready to leave by spring in case we have to.
What Brigham Young thinks and what the Lord says are two different things.
Brother Duncan has been picked to take Joseph's place as prophet.
Duncan?
He's had a revelation.
What does Brigham Young say about you being head of the church?
As I told you before, what Brigham Young says and what the Lord says are two different things. Everyone knows that Joseph wanted me to take his place. I was his chief counsel long before Brigham Young ever came along. I stood up for him.
Like, Brigham stood up for him in court, you mean?
He'd never been in court in the first place if he hadn't listened to a lot of fool advice. I warned him what would happen, raising an army instead of compromising.
Compromising? Listen, I stood right here in this yard and saw my father, who'd never hurt anybody in all his life, beaten to death. Zina's father shot down in cold blood. And you sit there and talk about compromising. Well, I'd rather be shot down than go crawling on my belly asking a lot of murderers to let me alone. And I don't believe that the Lord said anything to you at all. If he picked anyone to be head of this church, it was Brigham Young.
Jonathan.
And if Brigham tells me to stay here and fight, that's what I'm going to do. And if he tells me to pack up and go on somewhere else, that's what I'm going to do. And there's nothing you or anybody else can say that'll stop me. Can't anything stop me, any more than it could stop my father from saying he believed in Joseph Smith, even if he knew he'd be killed for it. If you're in such a hurry to talk about compromising, well, you better get on your way right now. Come on, Ma.
Eliza, I've always thought a lot of you and your husband, so I won't hold this against you. Good day. Young fella's got quite a temper, ain't he?
Now, Brigham Young put him up to it. You mark my words. Who's that girl there with him?
I never saw her before. Must be an outsider.
Jonathan! Jonathan! Look!
after Nauvoo.
Better get out the back way.
Looks like our running days are over.
Hallelujah.
Brigham Young?
Yes, sir. Come right in.
Thank you. Mr. Young?
How do you do, sir?
How do you do? I've come over here to warn you. You better get your people out of here just as fast as you can.
Why?
Because I've held off those mobs as long as I'm able. From now on, I can't be responsible.
You mean you want us to leave everything we've fought all our lives for?
I mean, if you don't go, and go quick, blood's going to run like water in the streets. Nothing I can do will stop it.
We're not budging 1 inch.
I'm sorry that's your answer. But I'm afraid the law can't help you much.
The law? What law? The law that lets a pack of scoundrels come in here and hunt us down like wild animals? Burn our homes, ruin our crops? Arrest our leader on trumped-up charges and then looks the other way when a mob breaks in and murders him? They call that law, let them keep it. We don't want any more of it. I appreciate this warning, Major, but this time we're going to stand up for our rights if it kills us. You tell that bunch of hoodlums that I said if they come over here again, we're going to fight clear down to our boots and up to our necks in blood.
You mean that, don't you?
You doubt it?
No.
Well, then I guess that's all we've got to say to each other. Good day, sir.
Good day.
Funny thing, that Major taking it for granted that I was the head of the church. Why didn't he go to Angus Duncan? He's been going around from house to house telling everybody he's been picked to run things. Still, if I'm the head, why doesn't the Lord tell me so? One thing's certain, somebody's got to be head pretty soon, or there won't be any church left to be head of.
Around you. Brigham, they're over at the council hall meeting Duncan and Crum and the others. They found out that the raids are going to start all over again tonight. And Duncan says they're not going to listen to you anymore. They're going to make peace with those people over in Carthage any way they can.
Well, maybe he is head of the church. Maybe it's up to him.
Brigham.
I stood here in Joseph's footprints. I knelt where he did, trying as hard as I know how to get an answer. But the Lord won't talk to me. He won't tell me what to do one way or the other.
He didn't say you were not to head the church, did he?
He didn't say anything.
Brigham, when you asked me if I loved you, I didn't say anything either. But that didn't mean I didn't love you. Sometimes silence is the best answer you can give a person.
Mary Ann, Joseph told me to run this church, and I'm going to run it the way it ought to be run until the Lord says no.
We're headed for the worst trouble we've ever had, this very night, unless we act and act quick.
The minute they heard what Brigham Young said about fighting back, they started organizing.
I wish I'd have been there to hear him. I'd have shut him up quick enough. Why, he's acting as if the Lord chose him to run this.
How else should I act?
Now, I hear you've been linking some sort of a deal with those rats over in Carthage. Whatever it is, you're not going through with it. Because I'm taking the bull by the horns and spitting in both his eyes. We're leaving here tonight.
Tonight?
We're crossing the river into Iowa.
You can't bluster your way into power. It might do you some good to know that the Lord said...
Cross the river into Iowa tonight.
Was it a revelation?
Yes.
That's a lie.
Angus, I'd like awfully well to see you live to a ripe old age. Maybe you will if you hold your tongue.
But the river's frozen over.
How else could we all cross it in one night?
But it's fixing to storm.
They'll never expect us to start.
But we couldn't get our things together.
The lighter we travel, the better time.
Ah, don't listen to him. We can't run off now and leave everything we've got. I've got my granary to think about.
And my store.
Every cent I've got in the world is right here.
Maybe we're getting too interested in granaries and stores and things. You remember how when Joseph started out, he had an idea about nobody getting rich, but everybody sharing alike. Somehow his idea seems to have got sidetracked. I figure it's time we got back to it.
But I've worked hard. I've saved and scrimped.
A little money means more to you than this church, Angus. You'd better stay here. Heber, put some fellows on horses. Tell them to spread the word. Tell everybody to come just as they are. We've got to put the river between us and Nauvoo by morning, or there won't be enough of us left to worry about.
No, wait a minute. Don't pay any attention to him. You're making a mistake. Think of your homes. You'll just be run out of this state like we've been run out of every other state. Listen to me. You're making a mistake.
Here he is.
They won't compromise. They won't do anything. They're leaving.
Leaving?
Where are they going?
They're crossing the river into Iowa tonight.
You're lying.
It's the truth, I swear it. Brigham Young's making them leave.
And good riddance.
Now you won't have to raid.
You better get over there and see that they don't change their minds.
We'll fix it so they'll never come
You
back.
won't hurt my property, will you? I did my best. I played fair.
You're no better than any other Mormon.
Look, there's plenty else. What about that promise? You're not going to destroy my granary.
It's full of Mormon wheat, ain't it?
All right, Mary Ann. I'll meet you down at the river.
Lord, Brigham's a great and good man. I'm his wife, and I know. I've known him longer than anybody but you and Heber Kimball. Only sometimes he's so sure of himself. Sometimes he's bullheaded and thinks nobody else knows a thing but him. But he's only trying to do what's right. So won't you look after him? Maybe speak to him. Because this is an awful thing he's asking us to do. Right now, in his heart, he's not half as sure of himself as he makes out to be.
Everybody meet on the other side of the river. Get together on the other side of the river. Everybody.
Jonathan, meet at Sugar Creek on the other side of the river.
Go ahead, keep moving.
Supposing the ice breaks through.
I get my horse. Let me try.
Like the end of the Mormon church. Come on.
Look. Looks like we've burned our bridges behind us. We couldn't turn back now, even if we wanted to. Get your tuba.
Tuba?
And get hold of the rest of the band. Tell them I said to start playing.
Yes.
Where are we going? Well, wherever it is, we'll get there.
Don't take it so hard, Porter. We'll build another city someday.
Who gives a hoot about a city? My gun jammed. I didn't get to kill even one of them. Brigham, there ain't no sense trying to hide the truth. Folks are mad as wet hens, cussing you all over the camp, claiming you're to blame for getting them in all this misery.
Everywhere you turn, they're getting ready to pull out.
Where to?
Well, anywhere but here.
Well, they don't seem to know, but they say they're awful fools pulling up stakes and leaving everything they got to come out here and squat in the mud and slop till they freeze.
That's enough, man.
It's high time somebody did some thinking around here. Why, there ain't 50 families in camp ain't got somebody sick or hurt or already dead.
It's true, Brigham. I've been out all morning, and it pretty near breaks your heart just to look at them.
And they've got to know what you're going to do about it.
Mary Ann, you and Claire get Emmeline and Lucy and some of the others and help you take this stuff around to those that need it just as soon as you can.
Well, what are you going to do about it?
Well, I've got an idea. But they're going to need some of this hot composition in their bellies before they hear about it.
What in tarnation's that?
It's one of Brigham's remedies to put down colds and ague and fever and rheumatism and such.
What's in it besides fire?
Hot water and cinnamon bark and ginger root, cayenne pepper and anything else that's hot.
Well, throw the stuff out. Ain't folks suffering enough without burning their insides out?
Feel better?
I'm all right, thanks. You better give her to me. It's past her feeding time.
But you're not strong enough to.
She's hungry.
How's Mom?
She's feeding the baby now.
Doc Richard said he'd be over in a minute. Plenty more hurt.
Wish you'd hurry up and come.
Zina, there's a family fixing to pull out today, and I've arranged that you can go with them.
No, I'm not going. Couldn't leave your mother and the children. Her hurt and everything.
Well, we got no call on you.
I'll stay.
That's nice of you, Zina. And I'll appreciate that. How's your mother?
Well, you know Ma, she doesn't complain.
She's a fine woman. New convert?
No, sir. I'm not a woman.
What are you doing here?
Her father was killed the night they raided our place, and she's been staying with us ever since.
Well, I guess we can feed one more mouth.
Thank you, but that doesn't mean I'm going to be a Mormon.
You don't seem to like Mormons.
No, it isn't that, but... Well, it's just that I'm a Christian.
So am I.
Well, I mean, I've got my own religion. I wouldn't change that for anything or anybody. And besides...
Besides what?
Well, there must be something wrong when there's so much hate. People being tortured, killed. Everything they've got in the world taken away from them.
A lot of folks seem to think it worth going through all that for.
You folks have been doing a lot of worrying and wanting to know what we're going to do next. Well, in the first place, we're going to start acting like we've got some common sense. We're going to build some strong new wagons, gather in all the food we can, get enough guns and ammunition, warm clothes, and whatever else we need, and then we're going to get out of here. And we're going to keep going until we're clear out of the United States, across the Rocky Mountains into Mexico.
Hallelujah.
Mexico? Across the Rocky Mountains? If it's got to the place a man can't stay in the United States and believe what he wants to, then he's got to get out.
That's 1,500 miles.
Just about.
Take us 4 years to get there.
It took Moses 40 years to get where he was going.
But 1,500 miles. That's all.
We doggone you, Brigham Young. We've stood for all your foolishness. We're aiming to. I'm through. Through with the whole dang setup. I'm quitting, you understand? Quitting you and the church. I'm going someplace where me and my family can live.
Well, that's
I know it's not an easy thing I'm asking you to do. But we can do it, if we've got faith enough. There's good stock here, Lord. It's about as fine a bunch of men and women as ever lived. All they need is a little bucking up and a kick in the right direction so's they'll know their own strength. And then you'll see how soon they'll stop all this infernal whining and all this talk about running off, quitting the church. First thing you know, they'll be letting their beards grow. They'll be getting dirt under their fingernails and calluses on their hands as big as hoe cakes. And they'll be ready to whip the tar out of the first fellow that says we'll never make it. If there's anybody here doubts that, they'd better haul tail right now because we don't want them. We'll build our wagons and we'll scratch for our food. We'll shiver and we'll go hungry if we have to. And maybe some of us will keel over and die in our tracks, but that won't stop us neither because the rest of us will keep going and we'll never stop. Never. Not until we found the place. Well, Lord, we're on our way. Just as far as the eye can see, they keep coming. I doubt if there's been anything to equal this since the children of Israel set out across the Red Sea and you had to open up the waters to let them through. And talk about miracles. Well, just take a look at the way some of these wagons have hung together. Of course, it took plenty of scurrying around to get together what we did. But I knew that as soon as we stopped arguing and grumbling about what had to be done and started finding ways to do it, that we'd manage all right. Some of our folks aren't really in shape to travel.
Some like Eliza with bullet holes in them. Everybody, young or old, has his or her work cut out. The women are busy sewing, mending, weaving, or taking care of the babies, doing the cooking. And the men who don't have to drive or look after the livestock are turning out new shoes and seeing that our harnesses hold out. And we don't aim to let our children get far behind in their lessons either. Classes are being held every foot of the way, so as it'll never be said that a Mormon can't read and write with the best of them.
72.
Yes, sir. We're on our way.
Look your wagons, get ready to start. There's only about 5 feet of water. Oh. It's all right, Jonathan. We can make it. It's only about 5 feet deep. Take care of it. It's only about 5 feet deep. Come on.
Swim?
No!
You will. Let's straighten it up. There, all right.
We should have built arcs instead of wagons.
If we had, we could have floated clear to the Rocky Mountains.
Is this wagon grown, Ruth? Angus, I didn't know you were here.
Yep, in the mud with the rest of us.
It's my church, too, Brigham.
Sure it is. If we all push together, we'll get someplace.
All right, all together.
All together.
Hey! Lord, the way these sisters swing an axe is a caution. They go at it as if they had the devil himself on the ground, fixing to lop off his tail. In the meanwhile, we keep jogging along, putting plenty of good Iowa mud between us and those scoundrels back in Carthage. It's rough country we're going through, and it's just as hard on the wagons as it is on them inside.
Zina, come here.
What do you want?
I wanted to drive, Ma. I want to find Brigham. Tell him we're going to drop out for a little while. We can catch up later.
All this jolting, you keep going.
But, Ma...
If you let one stop, then somebody else will want to stop, too. And a third and a fourth, and before you know it, the whole shooting match will have fallen out. I don't want it said that we were the first to give up. Not for anything. Understand? Zina, you go and sit with Jonathan. It ain't right you cooped up in here and all that springtime outside. Go on out here.
Indians, Lord, for several days now. Sometimes there's just one. Sometimes there's 2 or 3. Sometimes a whole tribe just looking. Porter Rockwell says that their main village is up ahead at Council Bluffs, and that there must be a couple of thousand around here and with more coming. Kind of gives you a creepy feeling knowing they've got their eyes on you. Some of our folks are getting downright uneasy, but I tell them Indians can't be any worse than some Christians I know. Well, just the same, till we find out a little bit more about them. We mean to trust in you, Lord, and to keep our powder dry.
Zigzag. That means he wants to talk in peace. You zigzag out to meet him.
My name's Brigham Young. We folks have been run out of our homes, and some of us are pretty tired and sick. If it's not asking too much, we'd like to stop here in Council Bluffs for a little while.
My people knows of your coming. We know why you are here.
As superintendent of the Indians, my advice is to say no.
Not many years ago, we were driven out of our homes. You are welcome here.
Chief, those are the first words of real welcome we've heard in 16 years. And don't think we're going to forget them. From now on, you can count on us for anything you want. We're welcome here. We can stay here as long as we want to. All right, unhook your oxen. Turn them out to graze. Clara. Mary. We're welcome here. We can stay as long as we want to.
Oh, I'm so glad, Brigham.
Porter, tell everybody to unhook their oxen and horses. Tell them they can hunt, too. This country is running over with wild game.
Look, Brigham, a good rich earth.
Sure. Anything would grow here. I think I'll let the main body stay right here and raise a crop. The rest of us will push on and find some place to settle in. Sure, they can follow us later and bring whatever they've raised. Heber, tell the people the band's going to play tonight. Tell them we're going to sing and dance like we used to.
First you tell us we can sit down and rest. Now you say we have to dance.
You know, I'll bet I've lost a foot of belly since we started out.
Well, it's good for the figure.
Yes, I know. It looks good. Well, I'm going to take a bath, even if I muddy up the whole danged river.
Well, you'd better go now, because this afternoon you're going to be awful busy. Burying.
Burying?
There's quite a few, counting the old folks, the babies. Eliza Kent went this morning.
Eliza? Jonathan, why didn't you tell me about Eliza?
She didn't want me to. None of them did. She told me to tell you, Brigham, that even though we might be the last wagon, we'd never be the first to fall out. Couldn't go away without leaving her some kind of marker. You know, Ma used to say that a good wheel always sings. Ma'd have loved those flowers. I never saw a body so crazy about them. Dandelion, ragweed, any of them.
Come here, will you hold him?
Howdy.
Howdy. Mind if I get a drink?
Nope. You one of them Mormon fellas?
Yes, we're Mormons.
I heard you was coming. Leaving off the mister, my name is Jim Bridger. What might yours be?
Leaving off the mister, Brigham Young.
Say, how many?
12.
How about a chaw to oil your tongue with?
No thanks, I never use it.
How come? What's the matter with you?
You see this?
Uh-huh.
I've been carrying that now for 15 years. Whenever I feel myself tempted, I hold it up and I say, am I stronger than this piece of tobacco, or is this piece of tobacco stronger than me? And I put it back in my pocket again.
Well, I'll be doggone.
A little more?
Fine.
You?
Yes, sir. It's all over California, I tell you. And some of them nuggets is as big as the hub on a cartwheel.
Sounds like a lot of tomfoolery to me.
My brother ain't the tomfooling kind. He's the one that wrote me all about it. He says all you gotta do is yank up a pea vine, scrape the ground with your little finger, and there it is. Gold, any way you turn. Pretty and yellow, ready to buy anything you want.
But don't go blabbing it around. We don't want a heap of people pouring in there and talking about how rich he is. Leastwise, until we get California into the United States. Now that we've been dragged into this war with Mexico.
Don't worry about us talking. Just see that you don't talk to our people about it and get them all upset. We're not searching for gold. We're searching for a place to live in.
You don't have to worry about us either. Well, thanks. Goodbye.
Bye.
What's the matter with you? Have you gone out of your mind?
I don't think so. I had to hush those fellows up. I've just had a revelation. There's gold in California.
Well, this is a revelation. And I think the church is about to find a new leader.
As captains, each of you men are in charge of 100 people. It's up to me and you to see that the Lord's will be done.
If there's all that gold out in California, it seems mighty strange and peculiar. Nobody's heard about it before.
The Lord chose when he wanted it known and who he wanted to know it. Now, you brothers get busy. Each of you know who you can trust in your own companies.
Well, what's Brigham Young going to say when he finds out about all this?
The Lord will handle that, too.
Zina, you asleep?
Aren't you?
No.
If you were asleep, bet I could tell you what you'd be dreaming about.
What?
All that gold in California.
Just imagine, Zina. Chunks of it as big as oranges.
Wish I had an orange right now. Cut a hole in the stem for the baby to suck. About the best thing there is for colic.
Gold. You know, next to the Lord and maybe the land, I reckon it's about the most powerful thing there is.
What would you do with all that gold?
Oh, about 1,000,000 things. I get a new saddle. I figured that the wagon needs a new doubletree. Baby ought to have a cradle to rock in. And you, I get you a new dress and a hat. Lots of boats come into California from China and every place, full of silk and things. I get you a parasol and shoes to match. Pretty finger ring. Lots of things, Zina.
All you got for yourself is a saddle.
Well, maybe I'll get me a horse to go under it.
Jonathan, suppose Brigham Young doesn't want to go to California.
But he couldn't help it. It's just like the promised land. Zina, you know what I've been thinking about? It sounds funny, but I've been lying here thinking about the time before I got into long pants. All the talking I used to do about what I was going to do as soon as I got into grown-up britches. Now, I don't know. I don't even care anymore. I reckon the only thing I care about is having somebody like me. Liking them and just always being with them. Zina, seeing as you're so crazy about the children and they're so crazy about you, well, I was just wondering if, of course, I mean after we get settled and I get a crop going and some of that gold that I was talking about, well, I was sort of hoping that maybe you and me could get married. Cook that stew.
Sure was good stew, though.
Henry, shut up and go back to sleep.
Between the defending champion, Jim Bridger, and the challenger, Porter Rockwell.
I bet you Porter wins.
Bet what?
Oh, that new silk dress I'm going to get against that horse you're going to get.
Sounds like a fair bet.
Get set! Tickle him.
Come on, Bridger. Looks like you're not going to get that dress you haven't got yet.
Dang saints, listen to them gambling.
They're only trying to have a little fun.
Fun. There's whiskey being drunk. Porter Rockwell is chewing tobacco again.
Since when did he ever stop?
I'm not going to put up with it. I'll not have the devil flipping his tail in my face. I'm going to...
Why do you lie to yourself? You're worried about all this talk of gold and going to California.
Day and night, that fella Duncan has been at him with his talk about gold. And that all you have to do is stick a seed in the ground that pops up before you can turn around.
You're dead set against California, aren't you?
You know human nature. Take a crowd of people to a place of milk and honey, and in 6 months' time, they won't be worth shooting. Our only chance is to find some place that nobody else had even put foot on. Sometimes I think I'm being punished for saying the Lord told me to take charge.
I don't think so. Not after what you've done to hold us together.
knew for sure where we're heading.
You set out to find a place across the Rocky Mountains where we could live in peace according to Joseph's plan. That's what the people trusted you to do. I wouldn't disappoint them.
Mary Ann, you're as fine a wife as a man ever had. Sometimes I don't know what I'd do without you. Always the same, never complaining. You're never jealous of the others.
No, Brigham. Sometimes I think the Lord's been almost too good to me. Just letting me take care of a fine man like you.
It's funny. When folks have been together as long as we have, it's kind of hard to say what's in your heart about loving a person.
I know.
You remember when I was courting you, how we used to sit out just like this on moonbright nights?
I remember.
Suppose you had to do it all over again. Would you still have me? Knowing all you do about me and all that you've had to go through?
Yes, Brigham. I'd do it exactly the same.
Well, Lord, here we are again. All I keep hearing is talk of gold in California. So far, I haven't said anything. That is the way I feel about it. Figuring that as long as we're heading west, they'll be satisfied. I can't keep that up forever. I'm not feeling very well myself. I don't seem to be able to eat or sleep. And then I'm all cold inside, kind of shaky. I must have got hold of some bad water back yonder. Maybe it's a touch of mountain fever from eating that rabbit stew the other night. You've got to help me find the right place, Lord, and find it quick. Because I can't go on like this much longer.
I tell you, Mary Ann, if we lose him, we're done for.
Well, they're leaving. They're going to California.
Leaving?
It's that white-livered skunk Duncan.
Didn't you talk to him?
Talk to him, sure. That doesn't do any good.
They can't leave him like this.
Why, that Duncan's so shrewd, he's got people thinking everything he's doing is to help Brigham.
Go hitch up the horses and help me get him into the wagon.
You're not taking him.
I am. But he's not able to move. He'd never forgive me, or you either, if we let the people go on without him.
Woman, he'll die.
He can't stand it. I know the risk I'm taking. If Brigham has to die, it'll be with his people. You'd want it that way, wouldn't you, Clara? It'll kill him.
I'll hitch up the horses. You get him ready.
Where are we?
High up in the mountains, Brigham.
What's that strange noise I keep hearing?
It's an echo. The wagons sound like a lot of hammers going.
Porter set to whistling a while back. You'd have thought it was a dozen flutes playing.
Look out and tell me what you see.
There's nothing but mountains. Over yonder's one about a mile high.
No, not there. Look south. The mountains suddenly fall away.
Over here they do.
You can see maybe 100 miles straight off.
Yes, I can.
This is the place. We'll build our homes down there.
It was a revelation. He knew it before we even got here. It was a revelation.
I thought we were going to California.
Well, so did I.
You said that Brigham Young himself would want to go.
Well, I thought he would.
This isn't the place. This isn't the place. Look at it. It's nothing but a lot of desert. Just a lot of sand and rock. We'll shrivel up and die like rats. We're going to California, do you understand? We're going to set up our own church.
Are you?
Yes, we are. We let you drag us away from Nauvoo. We left every cent, everything we owned in the world. We've watched you mark every foot of the way up here with the bodies of our women and babies, and we haven't said a word. But when it comes to stopping and settling in a place like that, the most desolate country we've seen yet, with California just up ahead waiting for us, it's time to call a halt. He says God told him this is the place. But I say it was the devil talking. And as far as I'm concerned, the devil can keep it. We're going on.
All right, Angus. That's the way to California. I'm not going to stop you. I wouldn't lift my little finger to hold you or anybody else that feels the same way. Moses went up in the hills like this once, and right away the devil started putting in his licks. You remember how he got the people to build a golden calf and to start worshiping it? You remember how mad God and Moses got and how close God came to washing his hands of the whole business? I don't claim to be a Moses, but I say to you just what he said to the sons of Levi. Who is on the Lord's side? Let him come unto me.
Well, you can have your desert. I'm going to California. Come on. You said you were coming, didn't you? You're going, aren't you? Well, are you coming or not? Think of your family and your children. What's the matter with you? You're not going to build your home down in that desert, are you? You'll all starve to death. Come on, get up and get going. You said you were coming with me. Think of your family.
Our hearts are mighty humble and mighty thankful. Lord, we'll make this desert blossom. There'll be hamlets and cities, vineyards and orchards with every kind of tree there is. There'll be no filth in our cities. There'll be no ugliness of any sort, but broad, clean streets with flowing water. And the law of the valley shall be that no man may buy or sell land, for all land will be held in common. It'll be measured off to him, both in the city and for farming. And any man may have as much as he can till, but he's got to take care of all he gets. All wood and timber will belong to the community too, as well as ditches and canals. Any person caught trying to take greedy advantage of these materials will be run out of the valley. Now as to the city itself, it shall be built in blocks of 10 acres each, with streets 8 rods wide, and with gardens and lawns on both sides. Right in the middle, I'm setting aside 10 acres for the temple, which we'll start building the day we get our first crop in the ground. We're going to establish Joseph's idea of the United Order and build a mighty empire here based on labor and love and fellowship. And this time, doggone it, I mean to see that we stick to it.
my sight to see you people come up here to put your food in a common storehouse to be rationed out to everybody alike during the coming winter. Joseph Smith would be proud of you. It's not just a tithe that we're giving this time, although that's the law of the church, but everything we've got. If one eats, we'll all eat. And if one starves, we'll all starve. Now we're going to have our hands full to make this food last until spring. So don't waste anything. Eat regular, but don't let me catch any of you people putting on weight. Now, it's up to us men to fish and hunt and lay in stores. And you boys, get out and see how many rabbits you can lay your hands on. But don't eat them. Pin them up. Give them time to multiply like good saints. All right, you fellas in the band, let's hear Come, Come, Ye Saints while everybody takes their food over to the storehouse. And play it good and loud, especially loud.
Leah? Well, all right here. Martha, Joan, Harriet.
Oh, Jonathan, I'd like for you to go with Porter back to Council Bluffs. Tell the people there to harvest their crops, but that they must stay there through the winter. Then they can join us in the spring and bring whatever food's left.
All right.
I'll look after them. Will you do it?
Yes, sir.
When can you start?
I'll be ready to leave by tomorrow morning.
Thank you, Jonathan.
All right with you, Porter?
Fine. See you in the morning.
Good.
How long are you going to be gone?
4 or 5 months, I guess.
He has no right to ask you to go. Got a family to look after, and besides, there are plenty of others who can go in your place.
You know how it is here. Everybody has his job to do. This is mine, and I've got to do it.
Brigham Young. Don't you care what anybody else thinks or feels?
He's head of the church, Zina.
Well, even if he is, he isn't God. He can't run everything.
He'll look after you and the children. He promised.
I can look after the children. And I'm not worrying about me. It's just that... Oh.
Sorry that you had to go and get mad.
I'm not mad.
Because if you hadn't been mad, I had it in my mind to tell you about something.
I'm not mad.
Well, if you'd been in a smiling good humor, I meant to talk about it.
Talk about what?
What I was going to talk about if you hadn't got mad.
Maybe you had a revelation.
Well, you might call it that. We ought to get married right away.
Right away?
Well, in the spring, as soon as I get back. Well, I don't see any sense in putting it off any longer than that.
Oh, but your Brigham Young will want you to marry a Mormon girl, won't he? Several of them.
Several?
Well, if you're going to be a rich man, you'll have to have a lot of wives, won't you? You know, I've been wondering how you're going to go about asking them. One at a time or all together. Maybe it'd be easier if you just said, "Sisters, will you kindly marry me?"
Zina!
Then after you've married 20 or 30 of them, suppose you get to loving one more than all the rest put together. Then there's poor Jonathan, loving one and divided by 30.
Now, Zina, you're just talking nonsense and you know it.
There they'll be, all darning the same socks and cooking for the same man and all talking about their husband. Just imagine, 30 wives combing your beard.
You haven't answered my question yet about our being married.
spring yet.
Well, figure it out for yourself. Say every man's got 20 wives.
Aren't that many women?
Oh, we can get them. Women convert easy. And say every wife's got 10 children. That's 200 children apiece. And say every one of those 200's got 20 wives. That's 4,000. And say they got 10 children apiece. So that'll give you 40,000 grandchildren. Figuring 5,000 men to start with, well, that's 200 million. Quite a settlement.
Well, if arithmetic will do you any good, I'm willing to call you Grandpa right now.
I'm aiming to do my share.
I don't remember, Lord, ever seeing a winter to equal this one. Started out mild enough, but now it's hit for sure. There's just one blizzard after another. Snow is so deep that the game has run clean out of the hills. And even what little cattle we had left are lost or they're frozen to death where we can't get at them. I've had to cut rations 3 times already till there's hardly enough to keep body and soul together. The babies look mighty hungry and peaked to me. The women and the old folks are just hanging on, living on roots or whatever they can lay their hands to. Well, just the same, we're going to hold out till spring when the winter wheat and the new corn come through. I don't know how we're going to do it, but we're going to, Lord, somehow.
Mary, dear. Would you like to play a game with me?
What kind of a game?
Well, it hasn't any name, but here's the way you play it. Now, first, open up your apron. Why? Now, see the sun in it?
Yes.
All right, now, fold your apron back quickly and catch the sun. That's right. Got it? All right, now, bring it over here to me and the baby. Careful. Don't drop it. All right, now open your apron and let's see it. Oh, it's gone. You've lost it. You had it just a minute ago. I saw you catch it. Look, there it is. It's still over there on the floor. Hurry up. Get it.
Zina, I don't feel like playing. I'm hungry.
No, don't cry, sweetie.
Jonathan, I'm hungry.
Hungry. Zina. What happened?
Tablespoon every hour. Now, there's no use playing possum any longer, Miss Zina. Anybody as pretty as you are can't be very sick.
there's no telling how long it's been since she's had anything to eat.
She probably gave everything to the children.
Yes, and she isn't the only one who's done that.
She'll be all right, though, won't she, Doctor?
I hope so, son.
I'd hate to have to hold your nose and pour. Zina, Doc Richards said that you have to eat something. Careful, it's hot. You'll never be hungry again. I promise you that, Zina. Never again as long as you live. You know, all the time I was gone, I kept thinking about, well, how soon it was going to be spring. One day, it was just about noontime. But I made old Porter stop in camp right on the spot where our wagon stood that night. Remember? And you almost promised to marry me. But you fell asleep. Remember, I asked you again before I went away. You told me that it wasn't spring yet. Well, it's here now. Well, if thinking could have helped to make the time go quicker, spring would have come an awful lot earlier this year.
No use. We'll never be able to get married now.
Sonny, you couldn't mean that.
I tried to believe. I almost did once. Not anymore. Can't. There's nothing left to believe in.
Doing?
Well, the boys are eating them, and the Indians eat them,
Now, you kids get in the house. Go on, hurry up. Get.
Jonathan.
Hello, Jonathan. I'm glad to see you. What's the matter?
You promised to take care of Zina. She's so sick over there, she hasn't even got the strength to eat. She doesn't care whether she lives or dies.
I don't believe God would let that happen.
God? What's he got to do with it?
Jonathan.
If there is a God, where's he been? Where is he now?
Jonathan.
You said you'd take care of her. You said a heap of other things, too, but you saying them didn't make them so. But me, I believed him. Just because it was you saying them. If you'd have told me you was God Almighty himself, I reckon I'd have believed that, too. But not now. Not anymore. Pa dead, Ma dead, everything that I ever loved dead. Just because you said God wanted it that way. And now Zina. We were planning to go to California like the others. I told her we would. We had it all fixed up between us, but no. You wouldn't let us go. You said God wanted us to come down here. He wouldn't let us starve. And I thought you meant it. I thought God was talking to you every step of the way. God talking to you. Maybe you and him don't speak the same language. I know you and I don't, not anymore. Why did you do it? Why didn't you leave us alone? Why did you have to take everything that we love? Even God?
Brigham! Brigham, come on, quick. There's bugs, crickets, millions of them. Where? Coming down the mountain. They're in the wheat fields already.
They're eating the wheat. Destroying everything. Half the fields are covered already.
Crickets on the field. Hurry!
Hurry! The crickets are ruining the wheat. Come on! The fields are full of crickets.
Do? I don't know.
Listen, people, don't waste your time here. Let's save the grain. Come on.
You children, get away from there. Let's hope we can find your mom. Come on.
Run and get some wood and start a fire. Mary, you get some clean water in a pot, huh? Honey, a plague has struck the place. Crickets are overrunning the fields. As soon as you get your strength back, we're going to get out of here. We're going to California like I promised.
Too much for us, Brigham. It's no use. Might as well try to push back the ocean with a broom.
I told you what would happen if we stopped in this valley, but you wouldn't listen to me. You ran off with a false prophet. That's why this happened.
It's true. We're all going to die. You brought us out into this place to starve. You devil, you.
But we've one chance. Repent and throw him out of here.
It's true. You ought to be run out of here.
I wouldn't do that if I was you. And I'll plug the first one near the moon.
true. I lied to them, Lord. I told them that you said I was to run things. But you and I know you didn't. Do anything you want to me, but save them, especially now when they need you most. Only your strength is left. I'm licked. I'm all done in. From now on, it's up to you. What am I going to do, Marianne? I meant to do so much for them. I've got to tell them the truth, even if they kill me for it. I've got to tell them. Listen to me, people. You've a right to know the truth. I told you that the Lord wanted me to run this church. I said that he wanted you to build your homes in this valley. And I promised you in his name that you wouldn't starve, that no harm would come to you. I used the Lord's name. Caesar!
Black with seagulls. They're headed toward the field.
Look! They're eating the crickets! Whoa! Look at them eat! More coming.
Hallelujah.
What is it?
You'll have to see it for yourself.
You see, Brigham? He was talking to you all the time. Maybe that's the way it is. Maybe he's ready to say something any way you turn if you only know how to listen. Maybe talk. Speech like we use. Maybe that's not his language at all.
I know what you're thinking. Maybe we were both wrong. There is something to live for.
And someday, good Lord, we'll build a great city here on the shores of Salt Lake. And when we do, will erect a monument to the glory of God and to the symbol of his benevolence, the seagull.